Oh boy, the Golden Globe nominations are out, and yay, it's now award season time. Oh, it's my favorite time of year. Oh, it's officially started. So if the Golden Globe nominations just been unveiled for the 2019 films, and, who really cares about any of this? But the big controversy this year, of course, is that there are no women in the Best Director field. Ah, that's a bloody outrage. So far, there have been a number of folks in Hollywood shitting a chicken over this fact, with them suggesting certain films directed by women, such as the main ones seem to be Little Women and Queen and Slim, and what else is there? The Farewell, and anything else? I think that's kind of it. I think they're the only female-directed films that had some sort of award season chance. Really? Is there nothing else? Okay. I mean, it's not surprising given that you take a look at the percentage of female-directed films. The latest studies tells us that 4.3% of films are directed by women. So you don't really have a big chance of getting a nomination for the Golden Globes or any of these awards in general. So, if you really want to have more women directing films, that's the sort of source issue at play. I'm not suggesting equity or anything, but, that's where you should be lodging your complaint rather than it being specifically about award season. But those that have been complaining about this and noticing this omission for this year include Amy Pascal, producer of Sony Pictures films, I believe, who worked on Little Women, had worked on it for quite a long time before even its final director, Greta Gerwig, ended up working on it. And she had a number of things to say. Apparently, according to a report, that the screenings were heavily skewed and they were mostly female, with an almost 2-to-1 ratio of female to male attendees at the sort of media screenings for the Golden Globes voters. And she's claiming, she says that it's a completely unconscious bias. I don't think it's anything like a malicious rejection. So she doesn't really seem to have a huge conspiracy theory about this, and that it is a bunch of men in their ivory towers, wringing their hands together and saying women aren't allowed in this field and that field and in the award season and all this kind of crap. She's making an assumption that she claims, I don't think that men came to the screenings in droves, and I'm not sure when they got their screener DVDs that they watched them. I'm not really sure if we're getting that many reports on the male and female attendees of these award season screeners. Like, I'm not sure how the female to male ratio was for The Irishman as compared to its 2-to-1 ratio with Little Women. So that's really her take on this whole fiasco, specifically focusing on the film Little Women. And maybe it will work because when Greta Gerwig's last film, Lady Bird, was released, it missed out on a nomination, at least for Best Director at the Golden Globes. But after then, there was a push to get at least one female nominated for Best Director at the Oscars, which she did end up getting, and she became one of 19 directors to be nominated for their directorial debut. But let's see if it works again for this year, and she does end up with a nomination again for her second film. And another filmmaker who had just worked on their directorial debut, trying to push for a Best Director nomination at the Oscars, was Melina Matsoukas, who directed the film Queen and Slim. She claims that we held 3 screenings for the HFPA and almost no members attended. For me, it's reflective of their voting body. It's not reflective of the society in which we live in or the industry as it stands today. They don't value the stories that represent all of us, and these stories are so often disregarded and discredited, as are their filmmakers. It's extremely discouraging, it's extremely infuriating, and it just represents an archaic system that is full of people who don't value us. I think what it is that it is your directorial debut. You're not so much a known filmmaker. You weren't even an actress like Greta Gerwig was. So it makes sense that you don't just get your nominations or even your interest in your film with your directorial debut, even if it is getting lots of great press and a really great Rotten Tomatoes score or whatever. But it just seems if you build up your name, if you build up your popularity and your recognition through making great films like this, then perhaps the next time or the time after that, then you will be getting more recognition and more people will have known of your name and know of your work that will be interested in attending your screenings. Another female director in Hollywood who was pretty upset about this whole kerfuffle was Honey Boy director Alma Har'el, who talked about this on Twitter. She claimed, "Good morning to everyone that's writing to me about the Golden Globes. I feel you, but you know this. I was on the inside for the first time this year. These are not our people and they do not represent us. Do not look for justice in the award system. We are building a new world." Well, that's pretty true, I'd say. I don't think we really should be putting much stock in the awards season. I agree. But she then tweeted a list of names of female directors that made films this year and said that after the list of directors made films this year that reached and touched them, that's our awards. No one can take that away. I would say that quite a few of these directors she's listed have made films this year that just aren't going to get the awards recognition, not just because they are directorial debuts or even, sophomore efforts, but they, just like many films out there that have been released this year, just happen to have not gained enough momentum with their audience to garner more recognition so that they could be recognized for awards season. They're just not seen as the kind of award season kind of films. But, if we want to make this agenda thing, then, alright, I guess we can. So with another award season coming by, it just seems like that there are so many films coming out from this year, which I think has been a particularly good year, that are just not getting the recognition that people would like from these awards ceremony, namely the Golden Globes. But it just seems that when they are directed by women, that now there can be this socio-political agenda that can be pushed from this angle, which I think in a way can be good to sort of get some award season promotion for these films without even having to spend any money. You just gotta generate the rage bait with it. But I think, as it always goes, when people talk about this diversity in filmmaking or within the awards season, which this seems to be happening now every award season, where we start talking about the diversity of the films involved in the nominations rather than films in general, which is not really getting at the source issue at hand. Either way, I don't really give a crap about the Golden Globes or any of these award ceremonies unless I have money down put for them. So I sure as hell look forward to the Golden Globes this year, but only in particular for its host, which I'd fill whether he was a man, woman, or otherwise.